today our topic is between the, so you say here we have Americans, and you was born in America, right?
Chinese.
Oh, and half American?
Chinese American.
And so we're going to talk about the culture difference, especially around the tea or the drinks like coffee or the literature difference between American, like the Western, Western culture between the Chinese, the Eastern culture,
Yeah, let's talk about coffee.
Yeah, so
Love it.
I think when I first started coming to Champion Urban, trying all the tea, what I was amazed by most is when I drank that first sip of the tea, I was immediately relaxed. It had caffeine and it would keep me up, but I could feel like it acted like medicine in my body, really, and I was relaxed. And I come from the world of coffee. I was a barista. I worked like 2 minutes away as a barista. I would do pour over coffee, espresso, lattes, and I knew a lot about coffee, and I drank a lot of coffee too. But whenever I drank coffee, it feels good. It's euphoric. It brings you up. But then after a while, you start to get stressed, and you start to get, you get more tired afterwards. And so I felt that one thing that, one big difference between coffee and tea culture is tea culture is more so, like heal you and to make you more calm and to enjoy the slow moments. And coffee culture is more so like a tool.
Speed it up.
Like to speed it up. Yeah, it's a tool to speed you up so that you can work harder and work longer and focus on what you're doing. And I mean, I still do both. I mean, I had a coffee before coming here, but I did the tea when I came here. So I think, they both have uses, but I think tea could be very, important. And I think a lot of people would appreciate more good tea, being more widespread in America because, we do need to relax. You can't just go all the time. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
Okay, do we need to translate or we can all understand? 我们需要翻译吗？不需要。
都听得懂。
哇塞，
太棒了。
学历都太高了。
Great. So you want to jump in first?
Yeah, I want to have some questions to ask. So, caffeinated coffee, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's okay.
Yeah, even decaf has caffeine in it.
Yes.
Oh,
It's like 15% of the caffeine, but yeah, it still has caffeine.
Okay. If there's no caffeine, is it still coffee? It's just me asking. No, less
I don't know if there's any way to get all of it out.
Oh.
Okay,
so
but yeah,
there's still
coffee
caffeine in it.
Yeah.
So, do you have any idea what the chemical composition of the caffeine? Does it?
So there's the main difference between tea and coffee, and the reason tea is so great is because it has this compound in it called L-theanine or theanine, and theanine, like found in green tea and black tea, is the sort of, I don't know the difference between yin and yang. One is forceful, one is like less, but it's like the yin and yang, caffeine and theanine, they balance each other out. Caffeine brings you up and theanine, brings you down, it calms you down. And the warmer you brew the tea at like a higher temperature, if you go above like 200 Fahrenheit or 90 Celsius, the more theanine is going to be released. And so tea has a sort of like balance act to it. It gives you energy, but it also, calms the stress. And coffee doesn't have theanine in it. And so a lot of people will actually choose darker roasts of coffee because it stresses you out. Mm-hmm. And we look at that as like a euphoria or like excitement. We want that stress so that we can work better. Mm-hmm. But the truth is that stress comes at a cost. That euphoria comes at a cost. Mm-hmm. And I think the sort of balance of tea is, a lot more sustainable. One thing also that you can do, you can supplement theanine. You can get theanine like pills and then take that and drink your coffee, but it's, or you can just drink tea. But yeah, coffee, depending on the roast level, has like antioxidants just like tea, but that's more so on the lighter roast level. The more fruity, the more acidic coffee. There's like fermented coffees. So coffee comes inside of a cherry, essentially. So there's a bean inside of a cherry. And then sometimes what they'll do is like what's called a natural process. So they'll take the fruit with the bean inside and lay it out in the sun for like 3 to 7 days. And then it'll ferment inside of the fruit. And then the sort of flavor of the fruit will go into the bean. And it actually will make it, you'll get more of those antioxidants. You'll get more of the flavor of the beans. And like I personally believe it all feels different. Like the level of stress is sort of less with the lighter roast. But yeah, I'd say it's the theme.
Thank you is important. Wow.
Speaking of it just reminds me of when you talk about how tea and coffee is different. Is what amazed me is how the origin kind of difference and show the cultural difference that's behind it. So for example, coffee here, frankly speaking, and also by observation, Westerners are more straightforward. They're more direct and they're more like approachable. And Eastern culture tend to go slower and try to, angle up things a little bit before it just gets to the point, right? And I believe that's because of the time that has elapsed in the land, right? China, for example, had a long history. There's a huge history. So when that kind of historical timeline happens in one place, you just get a very complex mindset that comes into time, right? And it's a less direct thing. So tea really, it slowly brings up the energy, like you said before, but I think that's more of a cultural reflection of how people really wanted it, right? They will, the people will invent stuff that they really desire. And one interesting thing that I recently observed is how with like globalization now, Westerners are more preferring tea while Easterners are preferring coffee. Yeah. It's like when the culture exchange and then you suddenly be like, oh, there's like a new way to do this, right? So I want to try it. I want to see how that works out. So I think this is a good thing that the world's trying to, sort of collecting all these resources and forming into one big culture that everyone can enjoy. Yeah. So I think that's,
Matcha nowadays is really big.
Oh, yes.
Right. Everyone, there's a lot more people drinking matcha, like the green tea concentrate. And I think that's a sort of, it's appealing to Westerners because of how strong it can be. You can kind of load it up, it's more concentrated, and you get that sort of balance of theanine with like the, amount of caffeine that you want. I have seen that a lot.
Combo. Like a combo.
Yeah, you can basically make it as strong as you want. Very popular nowadays.
Oh yeah, I think so. But
Do you guys drink matcha?
yeah, I like matcha, but I have one question.
Matcha cookie.
Where does it come
Matcha
from?
cookie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
matcha cookie is so good. It's made of aunt's daughter, right? So good, so good.
Yeah.
Daughter. Daughter 是吧？没东西。
Coffee or tea? Or
So
matcha?
I personally, I've tried coffee and I didn't really I didn't like it that much. But my dad also introduced me to tea like a long time ago, and like a lot of times he has like a whole tea set with lots of the little like stone things that
Yeah, I
can
believe
change
many
color.
foreigners have that, yeah.
Yeah, so I also personally like to drink tea a lot, even like anytime, even though it could keep you up at night because I might need the energy. So I definitely feel like it's, to me, I much prefer over coffee.
And there's one more, for just personal story. There's a period of time where I was writing an article. So I was staying up till like 3 o'clock and waking up at 7. So coffee and tea doesn't work for me. So what I do is Red Bull. I mean, 2 cans of Red Bull a day. And that really brings up too. But then you feel really, really bad after the energy goes away.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't, because it's not natural. It just sort of puts you up and then drops you down suddenly without really having like a slope to go down there. So I think this is the difference. If you want stuff that comes from nature, because we're natural, where humans are built from the basic elements of nature. We're not artificially made, right? So, both coffee and tea I think is good in the perspective that it comes from the natural world and that it expects us in a most original way.
Yeah, with Red Bull, it's like a concoction of like vitamins
Yeah.
and sort of like nutrition that they add in there.
Mhm.
And with like all of these things, they use up your energy reserves, you know, a lot, you know, because caffeine, it, you know, like I guess makes your body work faster, your metabolism works faster. So, but it also reduces your appetite. So it'll reduce your appetite and you won't want to eat, but you need to eat or else you're going to crash, which is kind of tricky to sort of navigate that. I like, when we drink tea here though, every time I drink tea, I'm really hungry afterwards. I need to eat. Yeah, so tea's good for that. Mm.
Okay, cool. We're going to start next topic, or we still
Sure,
want
why
to
not?
study?
Sure.
Can we talk
What's the next
about?
topic?
Can we
The
talk
reading
about?
stuff, the book, or
The book? Well, he has an English one, I don't, so it's kind of hard for me. That's, you know.
No, all good. Mine is easier to translate to English too. So, I was gonna bring up how coffee and tea. Sorry, just one more thing before we move on.
It's okay.
So, just coffee and tea, they really they're beyond being a drink, right?
Mm.
Coffee. I don't know the origin that much, but from what I learned, I think it was a place to discuss about the society and the philosophy,
Mhm.
and it's a place to exchange thoughts in the Ottoman Empire, right?
Mhm.
Is that the origin?
So
Or-
the origin
or
story is
rather-
really funny. I'll give it to you guys quickly.
Okay.
In Ethiopia, there was a goat farmer, and he would let his goats like graze on the land, and the goats found a bush with these cherries, and they would eat the cherries, and then they wouldn't sleep all night, and they would go crazy. And so he was like, I should investigate this. So he took the fruits and he brought it to a shaman, and the shaman, mashed it up and mixed it with water, and they drank it, and they're like, wow, this is great. And then over the years, in the Middle East, in like Arabic countries, they, started to develop coffee, and then eventually it made its way. Ottoman Empire made its way into Europe, eventually. And in France, actually, they had coffee houses.
Yeah.
They would go, they would drink coffee.
And we're talking about the world.
Yeah, they talk about the world, and that actually is what spurred on the revolution, the French Revolution.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, it does sound like a very, active cultural,
Yeah.
force to it. It's all about expressing ideas and.
Right. And I believe tea has a similar role too
Mhm.
in China, right? We have Sanguo, the period of Three Kingdoms, and you have just these places to drink tea and discuss about literature and how just there's societal issues.
Just catching up on what he's saying.
Yeah.
Tea became more of a symbol for literary discussions
Mhm.
rather than a drink, right? People drink tea just so they can discuss something that could be cool. And also what you said about the French Revolution, actually tea also made a war, which is the Opium War. Right, because when
Right.
the Westerners came to China, and they want to have trade, right? When you have trade, you sell one thing and you import one thing. So what they imported was silk, porcelain, tea, all the stuff that China has. But what they wanted to sell was pajamas, forks, knives. Chinese people don't use pajamas. They just, go buy whatever they were, and they don't use forks and knives. So they got really pissed and be like, well, I can't sell anything to you, and then
Yeah.
I'm paying all this money.
Yeah.
So that's the whole Opium War started. So I mean, cultural symbols could really lead up to some huge issues in both dynamics of the
Yeah,
world.
that's true.
So I feel like that's really cool,
Very
just
hard.
compared to.
Mm.